And we are live.
Live. We're
Hello.
back.
Hello. Yes, we are back. Uh, Sorry for the long delay. Um, uh, Life has kind of gotten into the way, and just to kind of get it out there, uh, reason why it's been so many weeks since we um, last had our show. My father passed away unexpectedly, and so um, I'm dealing with that, and still got a ways to go with everything, paperwork, and all that fun stuff. But you know, got to get back to the grind and uh, keep moving forward. So we are here, and yeah, we're going to be talking about the anime series Mobile Fighter G Gundam. And for those of you that are not familiar with it, think of Street Fighter, but done in Gundam. So, world tournament kind of thing. It's a huge departure from the norm for Gundam. Because, like, up to this point, all Gundam series were always just this major kind of civil war type thing. Like, two or three factions duking it out for supremacy and all that kind of stuff. And this one, it's every country in the world sending a representative to fight to determine who's going to be the president of the world. So, what do you? What are kind of your thoughts going into all this, Remy?
Well, to state it off first, this is my first ever Gundam series. This is like something new for me. Although I am aware of Gundam, like I've heard of it, like I know about it. I just never watched any of the series before.
Yeah.
So this is like an interesting introduction for me because I'm like, oh, okay, this is neat, I guess. Because like I know about the original Gundam series, but I never knew about this like part of it, where it was like, oh, it's a world tournament now, and whoever wins gets to rule over the entire planet. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really like. And plus, too, I wasn't expecting it to be kind of an older anime. I thought it was going to be like a mid 2000s anime, because that's usually like the ones we've like watched so far.
Yep.
Well, except for Kaiju and Rape being the most recent one we've seen. But like, I really like, but like finding that out, I was like, oh, okay, cool, because I really like older anime. I think there's a lot of neat, cool charm in them, and there's like something very nostalgic about the way they used to animate all that stuff, like Dragon Ball and the OG Guyver, or like freaking Devilman, which this actually reminds me a lot of, like just kind of like the art style a bit. I was like, it's kind of looks similar to Devilman a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, not as dark or depressing, but does remind me a bit of it, especially Domon, main character.
Yeah, he's definitely an interesting one. And the series does take a little bit of a darker turn in the later half of the series.
Yeah, I figured. Like I figured like this is like the first 5 episodes. I'm like, well, Gundam is known for getting to darker material, so I'm just waiting for that turn when it does.
Yeah. Now there are some series that's been coming out over the last several years that are more kid friendly, and those are the kind of like what the Gundam Breaker video game series is based off of. And in those, basically, they have a way to like scan your Gundam model kit into like a virtual setting, and then you can duke it out with your model, kind of like Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Oh, okay.
And then, like, I haven't watched the anime series, but I've played a couple of the Gundam Breaker games, and in those, like, you're fighting to like, as you fight other Gundams and stuff like that, and go on missions and everything, you get to collect parts, and then you can upgrade your Gundam, and so you could have like, parts from all sorts of different Gundams and Zaku's and everything else that's been in the series. So, and different weapons and colors, and so So it's pretty interesting. I still have to check out the actual animes that it's based on, see if it's any good or not.
Yeah.
Um, but what's interesting about Gundam is that like the first few series all took place in like the same universe. So basically, where one series ended, the next one kind of picked up a short time afterwards and was dealing with like the consequences from the war that was in the previous one. And
Okay.
then after that, uh, it started branching off into what they called I think it was the Universal Century, and so that was like alternate takes, and so they don't necessarily tie in with each other.
Mm.
They just kind of became like their own stories, but keeping true to the kind of like the groundwork that was laid by the original like two or three series kind of thing. So,
Okay.
uh, uh, it's there's a lot to the whole Gundam mythos, and I know I still have a lot to learn about it because I kind of came into it in the middle, and
Yeah.
so
It seemed. Yeah. No, that's why I never really got into it because I was like, I know if I get into it, and people are just gonna. I know I'm just gonna have to go like, all right, I went from one series to the next. Let's go to the next one. Like, oh god, I can't do that.
because I think the first Gundam series that I got into was Gundam Wing, and that was like one of the first ones that really caught on here in the States, and so it was like everywhere. There was like commercials for toys and stuff on.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I think that's the most popular one that I remember hearing about.
Yeah, and
At one point.
and part of it was because it had such like a unique group of characters.
Yeah.
Um, and typically like one of the main kind of things with the Gundam series is a lot of times you'll have like just this normal person or this uh, person individual that's not like a military person, but somehow they find their way into the cockpit of a Gundam, and then like they're the only ones that can end up piloting it, and they end up getting into the war to protect their friends and family, and
Like even Galleon.
yeah. And so like Wing,
Freaking mech anime you can think of.
and so like Wing, I think one of the reasons why it was so popular is because you had basically five teenagers that were trained to basically be assassins, and they
Yeah.
didn't know about each other, but they all had the same mission.
Yeah. I think I think that sounds familiar. I think that's what I'm hearing about. I remember hearing about that one, like it was not just about the robot fights, but like a lot of anti-war kind of themes to it as well. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. So, and then I'm pretty sure this one came out afterwards, but I'm not sure like how soon after Gundam Wing.
It had to be pretty soon, I would say, because you
Yeah,
said
it
it
was
was
pretty close,
94, right?
something like that.
Yeah, early 90s.
And so yeah, and this one, like I said before, it just took a big departure from the whole like formula, and rather than it being this big major conflict between two or three warring factions, it's literally just uh, like a street fight. It's like literally we're going to send our representative for our country down, and they're going to travel the world and
Yeah.
fight each other. And
You got a mech grabbing a beer bottle and smacking it against the wall, like, bring it on.
yeah.
Let's go. Street rules, man.
And so in the one of the common things in the first 5 episodes is the main character Domon has a picture that he's carrying around with him, and as the episodes progress, you start to like learn a little bit more. But the whole everything that you like get little hints at plays a major role in the like second half of the series.
Yeah, they're like bringing more. Yeah, they're giving you more info on like why exactly he's like looking for this person in the photo.
Yeah. So, and it's pretty interesting and crazy.
Yeah.
but some really cool fights throughout the whole series. And there's some really goofy looking Gundams too.
I know. I'm still waiting for the windmill one. I'm like, where's the windmill? Where's the windmill guy?
There's a windmill one. There's one that looks like a giant bull's head. I think there's even one that is made to look like a zebra or something like that, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like there's one.
Well, I'm waiting for the more feminine looking Gundam. I'm looking for the Godanner freaking Gundam look. Damn it!
There are a couple. There is at least one feminine looking Gundam, not like the Godanner version, but
boo!
but it's definitely got more of a feminine
like look to it, appearance.
Yeah, and it is piloted by a woman. So
yeah, of course it. Yeah. Again, I'll never get over Godanner. I'll never get over.
Well,
the way robots look, I'm like, what the?
Well, we'll have to watch Van Dread, because if you think the stuff in Godanner is crazy, the combinations, the combinations in Van Dread. Now, like, so in Van Dread, they're actually more mech looking. They're not like, they're not necessarily humanoid.
Yeah.
But the pilots, like, when their mechs fuse together, the way that the pilots are situated are like, okay.
We're talking like Downward Dog or something like that, kind of like thing.
It's very innuendo-ish.
Oh God, okay.
And so
because I know there's like, what is it, Darling in France? Because I know an anime called Darling in France has like the pilots situated where it's both male and female, and the female is like in front and she's like bent over, and the male is like standing upright, so they literally look like they're doing dog position. It's like, what the fuck? To control the robot, it's like, why
So I will say, in the Van Dread series, the opening premise is that at some point in history, men went off, like all the men of Earth went off in one direction on their own, and all the women.
Sorry, my roommates.
I was like, okay.
My roommates. Sorry.
And then all the women went off in another direction, and they were basically at war with each other. And the series starts when like two armies are fighting each other, and this one ship that's mostly piloted by women gets a couple guys on it, and something happens where they're like set way off, kind of like Star Trek Voyager, where they're just like shot way into like deep space, away from everywhere that they know.
Mm-hmm.
And the main character wakes up, and a woman's on top of him after like the thing.
Okay.
And he reaches up and grabs onto her chest, and he's like not realizing what he's doing because he's like waking up from a daze.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just men and women that never worked, were enemies, are suddenly having to work together. And there's only like a couple of guys that are stuck on this ship.
No.
And one of the guys ends up becoming like the pilot, and he has to be like sucked into this special room. And when he gets sucked in, all of his clothes disappear.
Oh.
And so like the first time it happens, he's like, what the heck's going on?
Okay.
So
all right then.
all right, let's get the show on the road.
Can we start talking about Mobile Fighter G Gundam? What the people actually came for? People are probably watching this like, okay, when they actually going to talk about the series.
Yeah, we're getting there.
You must wait. We are talking about women and freaking robots. Damn it.
So yeah.
Anyway, the Autobot. So in this image right here, we have the Autobots coming down from Cybertron, landing on the planet. Oh wait, damn it, wrong animated series. Wait.
So episode 1 starts off with basically a voiceover kind of explaining how we explained it, where it takes place in the future, and all the countries of like the governments and stuff have gone up into space, so they like parts of the countries are now colonies in space,
Mhm.
and so they have this tournament every 4 years to determine who's going to be the president of the whole world. There's
Yeah.
still people living on Earth, and unfortunately, the Earth is the battleground, and seems like the first couple episodes makes it seem like uh, they're not treated very well. Like basically, they're just ants. You know,
Yeah.
they're just the governments don't care what happens to them essentially.
Hmm.
And so this scene here is all the like Gundams being sent down to Earth to initiate the tournament. Um, and so this is right afterwards. We're getting Domon's Gundam landing, and this guy here in the red here is a leader of like a gang who sees it and he gets excited because well, he's a criminal and wants to just like steal it or something like that. I kind of forgot.
He's a generic antagonist,
Yeah.
like an obstacle.
So we get a pretty cool shot, kind of this shadow view of the Shining Gundam, which is what it's called.
Yeah.
Landing in the pod, and the pod like basically sucking up the earth around it to create like a meteor, essentially. So then we get to some local police investigating it, and the guy sitting there smoking is like the lead detective, chief, or whatever, and he's pissed off because he knows what it means, and he just wants to arrest any Gundam fighters. And doesn't want to kill them, but he just wants to get them out of his town.
Yeah.
So, and then of course we get a shot of our hero looking in the distance at his covered up Gundam. So,
Got the red cape and everything.
yeah,
Looking badass.
cape and red bandana.
Yeah, of course.
Just like Ryu.
He's got the Bardock going.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts kind of with this opening sequence going in?
Oh, it grabbed my attention. That's for sure. You like, again, like I was expecting this to be an older anime, so like seeing this like kind of like older style of animation, I was like, oh, okay, this is new. This is interesting. I like it though. It's cool. Has a kind of grimy feel to it as well. Like the art is still really, really good, and like the animation, like when it gets to the actual fights and everything, I'm like, no, yeah, the animation's really good. It still holds up even today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I really found this opening like very interesting. Like it introduced me to the world and everything like that, and like I love that shot too of the Gundam just standing there all silhouetted while like everything is like coming around it.
Yeah.
Again, there's like some really good artistry in these like 5 episodes. I'm just like, this is great.
Oh, excuse me. So yeah, definitely really appreciate the artwork that they did, and you get to see a lot of like different atmosphere through all the different areas that they travel to throughout the series. So, so then we cut back to our resident crook, and he's talking to his gang about all the fun that they're going to have getting a Gundam and fighting and everything, looting, robbing, common criminal stuff.
Yeah, just an everyday criminal job. Just gotta steal some shit.
Then we cut to Domon in a bar, and barkeep realizes that he's a fighter, so calls the police on him, which they take their sweet time getting there.
As the police do, let's be honest.
Yeah.
When you work a fiction, they always show up late.
Yeah.
You're like, where were you? The freaking thing just happened.
So, and then also in the bar, there's a group of little kids that are apparently orphans,
Yeah,
have fend for themselves.
stealing stuff.
Yep, and bragging about their haul.
Yeah,
So this is the photo I was talking about. Uh, Domon keeps asking people if they've seen the guy in the photo. On the back of it, it's got 5 countries written on it.
yeah. And this is just, I think, his first stop.
Yeah. So, and the 4 other ones are
One of them's Russia. That one's France.
China and America.
Yeah. There you
go. And what's interesting is those 4 fighters end up becoming like his best friends.
All right.
So.
Oh yeah, him and the French one. I was like, we're probably gonna see him again.
Yeah.
And he's probably gonna be like a very close ally because, like, to me, when they were fighting, there was very little hate or disdain for each other.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, they're fighting out of respect for each other. They're not fighting because they want to be because they hate each other. They're fighting because, like, well, they have their Gundams, so they have to fight.
Yeah, it's not like this opening fight where.
Yeah, no. This one, he's like, no, he freaking hates this guy.
Yeah.
Like, this crook is not going to be an ally at all. So he's like, no, I'm just going to mess you up.
Yeah. So shortly after Domon, shows the photo and asks about it, the gang shows up and starts harassing the kids.
Yeah.
So of course,
Domon like that. So
Domon responds.
Just starts beating the shit out of them.
Oh. So thought this was a pretty good shot.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
So that the gang obviously tries to start fighting him and everything, and he's just kicking all their butts.
Yeah.
And then the big guy gets up.
Of course he does,
which shows how strong Domon is. Like,
yeah, that he can just lift this guy up with like one arm by just not even punching him, elbowing him.
Yeah. So after this little scuffle, the police finally show up. Domon's taken into custody. They don't treat him.
How are you? Gundam fighter.
Kind of see, but they got like a pizza in front of him, and I think they slam his face into it.
They do. Yeah, I think I remember that. They like grab him by the head and like just dump his face in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, if that was me in that situation, I'd probably just start eating the pizza. And I put my face in it, just going like to the side, just turn my head to the side and just try to chew on the cheese. I'm just like, hey, you got the pizza right in front of me. I don't know what you want me to do about that.
So he does get let out. This is his mechanic. Her name's Rain.
Yeah.
And they definitely have like a unique bond. And as the series goes along, it gets explored a little bit more. There's some hints to her perspective in these like opening episodes. But Domon's pretty well focused just entirely on his mission. And so, like, in like typical story fashion, like her advances just go over his head.
Yeah. He's too focused on the mission. He's like, I don't care about anything else.
So then they run into the kids. The kids are grateful, for Domon stepping in, protecting them. And so this is when Domon finds out that they're orphans, and it's it. They end up going back to a hotel that they're staying at, and Domon lets the kids come in to, keep them out of the elements. Unfortunately, the gang tracks them down, breaks through.
Freaking terrifying.
Yeah, and manages to capture the little
Yeah.
girl,
Yeah, little girl in the group.
which I found pretty interesting. Finger that they lifted up.
Well, of course, they would lift that finger up.
Yeah. So this is basically him challenging Domon to uh, a big fight, and so tells him, "Hey, I'm gonna go. I'll be over in this special spot. Come and fight me."
Yes, I want you.
And just a nice perspective shot there.
Yeah, good sense of size. That's another thing too in this series where I really like the sense of scale that they offer to the Gundam.
And they throughout the whole series they do a pretty good job of like showing
Yeah.
up.
Like not only the scale but also like the way they move, kind of like slowly, kind of gives that sense of like weight.
Yeah.
Also.
So before they can head off, of course, the police show up and threaten to shoot him.
And he's like, "Listen, I'm going to go help a little girl right now. All right, I'm trying to be a good guy. Don't piss me off." So then, so they're like, that's when like the police and Doma kind of like form like a mutual alliance in order to help save the girl and stop the gang. So
yeah. So we cut to the gang waiting for Domon to show up. Looks like they're in a coliseum, and they got the girl tied up on hanging off of the arm of the Sky's Gundam. Basically, so that way, if they want to, they can just cut it and she plummets to her death, kind of situation.
Yeah.
So Domon walks up, and they decide to try and shoot him, and he catches all the bullets.
I don't know how, but he does.
I know. So he ends up, I think, doing like a jump kick, cuts the rope, or he throws one of the bullets like the rope or something like that, and frees the girl, and rescues her, and then tosses her to the police officer while he heads to his Gundam.
Yeah, like go grab it.
So, of course, he's being chased, and now we get to the first time that he gets prepared to fight.
Yes. It's like such an odd way for him to like get dressed in order to pilot the Gundam. I'm like, okay, it's just interesting.
So I'll explain a little bit of how else this is different from most of the other Gundam series. Typically, in a Gundam series, the pilot gets into like a cockpit, very much like a jet fighter, and so they have like the throttles and they have joysticks and cameras and panels and all that kind of stuff. In Gundam Fighter, because it's like Street Fighter, they have this system where basically they get this skin sensor suit put on, and it tracks every little movement that they do.
Yeah, so, kind of like a Jaeger almost.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they are just kind of floating in the middle of this area, but they get the skin tight suit on, and basically every time they throw a punch, they move their finger or whatever, even wiggle their toes and stuff like that, it tracks all those movements and reflects it through the Gundam. And then basically the whole room becomes like a big monitor for them to see all around them. And what's interesting about this suit application is that like right after this, it focuses on his rear end every time. And I almost took a screenshot of that, but I was like, I won't do that.
Oh, we took enough of that. It was good.
So, and it's funny later on when you see a couple of the women getting suited up too.
Okay.
So, So yeah, he gets his costume on, and then his Shining Gundam is finally revealed.
Yes. Shining Gundam. God.
So, what'd you think when this was revealed?
No, that was cool. Like the design of it, I was like, okay, that's like the OG Gundam design that I am familiar with.
Yeah,
Like resembles it very closely. So I was like, okay.
and I appreciate that it's got two saber katana like handles on its side. So doing like the double katana carry like samurais would do sometimes. Past so, um, but when they both are in their mechs, it activates the whole tournament, which you get this shot of the colonies up in space, floating around Earth, and a big boxing ring.
I was wondering what that was. I was like, why is that tied around the planet?
Yeah, so that's essentially the boxing ring, and to show that the Earth is the battlefield. So they get into it, start fighting, uh, and you know, doing the kind of the wrestling stuff, pushing each other back and forth a little bit. Um, Domon blocks some shots, and so uh, the red lines that you see are a reflection of the damage that his mech is taking.
Yeah.
So it gives feedback to him, and so he actually like feels it. They cut into a little bit of exposition um, about the whole tournament, and so this is kind of like the final shot of that exposition, just basically saying that they'll fight until there's just one Gundam standing. Uh, Cut to the bad guy is trying to shoot the cop, uh, but Domon jumps in the way at the last second, protects
Yeah.
him, and then activates his shining finger.
And just freaking
Crush.
grabs the other gun by the head and just kind of like crushes it. He doesn't kill the guy, but he does enough damage to where the Gundam can't function anymore.
So, so one of the interesting aspects is that one of the rules in the tournament is if the head unit of the Gundam is destroyed, the Gundam is disqualified. It's on the turn.
It's over then. And whoever did cause that damage is the winner.
Yeah. So that's one of Domon's main attacks is to try and destroy the head, and the glowing finger, shining finger grip is basically a special attack designed to do that as quickly as possible. So we get to see the damage of that, and then we have a final send off between the cop and Domon. You know, cop's like, okay, you're not such a bad guy after all, but I still want you out of my city.
Yeah, Domon's like, all right, peace out then.
And that was the end of episode 1.
Yeah, no, pretty good episode. I enjoyed it. It was a good introduction to the show.
Yeah.
Again, I liked it a lot. Again, I mentioned I really like the animation. The characters are interesting enough. The first fight between the Gundams is actually pretty entertaining and really cool and really well done. So I was like, all right, I'm excited to see where they have in store for the other Gundam fights. So yeah, thought it was a good intro to what's to come.
Yeah. So, and I like how they do this like painting shot at the end of each episode.
Yeah, there's like a lot of animes that I've like. Well, sometimes there's some animes that do it as well in the present age. They kind of have like that painting, like so. Teach them.
All right. So at the start of episode 2, we get this guy kind of introducing the audience to the series.
Yeah, it kind of does like a recap on the lore almost.
Yeah, and
Then it like kind of like offers like a hint of what this episode's going to be about.
so, and then typically, or at least with these first 5 episodes, or the second through 5th episode, get a shot of the main opponent that Domon's going to be going up against.
Yeah, and then the guy with the fake eye patch, that freaking liar.
Yeah.
Like it goes like ready, go! Every time.
So
he did it every time. That in the 5th episode, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna kind of skip this a bit. skip. All right, next opponent, cool. Skip.
yeah. So this guy is called Jiminy Crockett, and he represents America.
Heard about
America,
yeah. I mean, look at the star and the freaking cowboy like things on his shoulders.
Yeah, and he's got the little twig that he's always chewing on. And his Gundam is a combination between football and boxing. So,
well, that's honestly, I think I would prefer the Gundam had like a freaking cowboy hat on.
That would have been interesting.
It had a gun.
So,
and an eagle.
So, what's pretty interesting is like, I think this is taking place in New York, and so he arrives and they've got big parade for him and everything. Apparently, he already had a fight or two before he got here. So they show like a little shot of him fighting the previous.
Completely knocking that one off.
And you could see the little bit of a kind of like a small boxing glove covering up his hand. But you got like the football helmet, and shoulder pads, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the America colony.
Of course, there's the freaking giant ass American flag right behind the Statue of Liberty. Like, to America.
So I just thought this was a hilarious shot. So
yes,
it's Harmon.
America, yeah. Again, much American machismo airing from the sky.
So then it cuts to Domon in the bar again, and of course the kid's in there for some reason. And I think there's like broadcasts going on about Jiminy Crockett and his upcoming title match or something like that, just a regular boxing match.
Yeah.
And the kid's like a huge fan of his, and because apparently he came from the area that they're in.
Yeah,
so
I love Jiminy Crockett.
I love when the audience is cheering for him later on. Jiminy Crockett, Jiminy
Crockett. Yeah. That reminds me of like the freaking audience that would like cheer for Mr. Satan in DBZ. Yeah. Satan. It's like, oh god.
So then we cut to Jiminy just kind of in his locker room relaxing.
Yes.
Got these 4 lovely young ladies that are always around him.
Yeah.
And
like it's like a boxing demo almost. Like, this is exactly what they would do for like a boxing demo.
Yeah. But he's talking to a couple guys in suits that are basically like his handlers for the tournament.
Yeah.
And so they're just kind of antsy about a pending fight because I think they heard rumors that Domon was in the area, and so they're like, you got to be careful, man, because their whole focus is they want to be in control.
Yeah.
So, and he's just there for the thrill of the fight. Like, obviously, he wants to do good for his, America and stuff, but he just lives for the fight. So, then it cuts to his opponent in his locker room, kind of chilling out, talking to himself. And all of a sudden, he's knocked out.
Yeah, by Doman. Almost as
So
like just get on my way.
yeah. So before this shot, you do get a quick glimpse of Domon dropping down from the grate in the ceiling.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to the ring, and announcers, announcing both Jiminy and the black guy that was supposed to be in the fight. And Jiminy comes out, of course, big cheers and everything. As soon as he gets to the ring, Domon just charges him.
Doesn't even wait. Just go straight for it.
So manages to knock him down, but doesn't knock him out. So they start tussling and everything, and show how crazy powerful Jiminy Crockett is. Does this damage to the ring post?
Yeah, so one punch and just snaps it.
Yeah, and those are usually supposed to be like steel. So
yeah, not rope. What the hell's man?
And even the ropes are like steel wires.
Exactly. About to say they have to be like hard to break, don't they?
Yeah. So they keep fighting, and Domon goes to dodge, but gets clipped in his rib cage by Jiminy with this shot. And then, of course, has to make a break for it because he's not the sanctioned fighter, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So these are the goons that I was talking about before. Now they're even more upset because they don't want him to fight Domon. They want to do stuff to, guarantee that Jiminy will win. So let's see here. So they send some of their goons to try and take out Domon, but Rain steps in and neutralizes them.
Yeah.
Which shows, how cool she is.
Yeah, that she's not useless. That she has value.
And that she can take care of herself, too.
Yeah.
So she's not just the dame.
Yeah, the damsel in distress, as they would say.
So, sorry, my feet are being attacked by my cat.
No,
like sitting here talking, and all of a sudden, will you stop? Stop it. Kittens. So I didn't get a. I don't. Let me see real quick. Did I get a shot of it? So Jiminy decides to send one of his girls to make an official challenge to Domon. And so they're just kind of hanging out there waiting and reminiscing about his time as a kid, having to steal to eat, and eventually getting into fights with gang members and kicking their butts as a little kid. And still having his twig.
Because America.
Yeah.
America.
And then, so Domon and Rain are talking about what's going on. And I think this is where we get the first hint that there's more to what he's doing, because there was they were reporting to kind of their handlers.
Yeah, they're superior almost.
Yeah. And I think we get a brief glimpse of Domon's dad. So there's a guy that's like kind of in a coffin.
Yeah, like in a casket surrounded by flowers.
Yeah.
And they're like mentioning that could be his father. And like how what he's doing going around could save him. Probably save him.
So
I mean, type again.
Yeah.
Just let her attack.
It's just distracting. So we have that little prelude. Then we cut to Jiminy's handlers, and obviously they're up to no good. They capture the one girl and coerce her into lying and sending Domon to the wrong spot.
Kill him.
So Jiminy's in a football stadium waiting for Domon to show up.
Yeah.
Domon's like in Times Square waiting for Jiminy to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of Jiminy, you get the handlers. And like I said, I'm still not quite sure like what happened with the girl, because it almost seems like she's, happy to be a part of this rather than.
My guess is that they probably tricked her and like made her thought this was like what Gemini wanted or something like that.
Could be. It was just really weird because she's like unconscious and then she's,
Yeah, or they were like in ties with Jimmy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really remember.
I just, it just always seemed odd to me. Like she's unconscious and then she's playing.
I didn't get it either. I think the first time I saw it, I was like, I don't understand what's going on.
So obviously, Domon's pretty upset because he was expecting to face Jiminy, and that's not happening.
Yeah, he's like, damn.
Rain figures out where Jiminy actually is and realizes that they've been duped, or that Domon's been duped. So Jiminy takes off on a jet sled, and surfs the air to find Domon, which he's running along the pier being shot at. And I was like, can't you just like catch bullets?
Well, not in this episode. They decided to not give him that power.
Yeah. So yeah, he's being chased by the other one shows up in front of him. And then Jiminy shows up and knocks the guy out. So gives someone an opportunity to get to the Shining Gundam, which I thought this is a pretty cool shot. And it's another thing that it's kind of weird about his mech, because he has this little core fighter thing, and he sits in it like it's a normal cockpit. And typically in the like Gundam series, when they have like a core fighter like this, it actually turns into the cockpit once it inserts itself into the Gundam.
Yeah.
But like his goes in like it should do the same thing, but then it's the freestanding thing. So it's like, where's the canopy go and everything?
Not question it.
One of those.
Just go with it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that's always kind of stood out to me, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
So Domon activates the Shining Gundam and slices one of the handler's mechs in half right away.
Just cleave.
Yeah.
So, and I think Domon and Jimmy are finally like, all right, now we can get on the business.
Not yet. So this is Jiminy going up against the other one.
Oh,
He does a special tornado blast move that sends this guy flying.
Oh, all right.
Then they're able to get serious. And so the shoulder pads come off and become boxing gloves.
Yep. He's got
over the fists.
Like skin tone, like freaking six pack going on or something.
And so yeah, definitely unique Gundam designs in the series. So they start duking it out. Thought this was a pretty cool shot.
Yeah, love the Again, it's a trope, but I freaking love the clashing of fists in anime. Whenever they just punch each other at the same time, and it just creates like a shockwave. Ah, it's so cool.
Yeah. So then they tussle for a little bit, but it is getting pretty close to the end of the episode. So Domo activate his shining finger and just starts slicing through Jiminy's arm.
Yeah, of course, that means that Domon wins.
Yep.
What?
Jiminy's arm gets obliterated, and he falls down. Again, showing a shot of the pain reflection in the outfits.
Yeah.
But they call it a draw. So he doesn't like, or yeah,
Yeah, no, it's a draw.
because Domon was still suffering the effects from the rib hit that he took from Jiminy in their boxing match.
Yeah.
So, so then Jiminy comes out and everybody's going Jiminy Crockett, Jiminy Crockett.
Yeah.
There's like when you hear it in the actual anime, there's like no real enthusiasm.
Yeah, because they're having freaking Japanese voice actors trying to speak English, and it sounds terrible.
It's just so funny. But that's the end of episode 2. So
Yeah.
overall thoughts?
Good episode. I really liked the. I think we actually one thing I really liked about the series is that we get like human fights instead of just Gundam fights. So
Yeah.
it adds a bit of variety to the show. So I really like that fight that we had between Jiminy and Delmon in the ring. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And again, I like that they had both of them team up to then fight each other. But the thing I like about it is because you never really got a sense that they hated each other. You got a sense that they respected each other as fighters.
Yeah.
So like even when they had to fight each other, they were like, "All right, let's do this." Like they were happy about it. And they were like, "All right, good game, let's go."
Yep.
And even the fact that they ended the draw, they're like, "All right, cool." So like, I like that, and I do like Jiminy. I think Jiminy was a really cool character. Like I didn't get like a jerk vibe out of him. Like I actually got a sense of honor from him. Like he wasn't an a-hole that was popular. He actually was a good guy who was really popular and who actually respected his people and like was actually thankful for his fans.
Yep.
So like that, they made him kind of that deeper character.
So, all right. On to episode 3. Get the Chinese Gundam Dragon.
Ghidorah. No,
so, this is apparently in space. This was on the colony, I think, before this character goes down to Earth.
China.
So, pretty interesting shot of the Chinese space colony.
Yeah.
They got the Great Wall going around the colony.
Oh, that's what that is?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that's a Great Wall. Okay, it's funny. I thought it was just a random piece of metal that just they had over their colony. I was like, okay, that's weird.
Nope.
To make a Great Wall, that's even better.
Yep.
I love it.
That's what that's supposed to be.
I love it even more now.
So it opens up with the village being ransacked by a bunch of goons in these little pods.
Yeah, some more gang members.
Yeah. So they're just shooting fire everywhere, attacking people. And eventually they all join together and form like a big dragon serpent kind of thing. We cut to these 2 monks kind of watching over it, and I think they're under the impression that it's the kid that they're supposed to be guiding. So they're kind of like frustrated, thinking that he's gone evil. cut to Domon and Rain fighting with them.
Yeah. Holding them on their own.
Yeah.
Again, these goons suck when it comes to taking down both Domon and Rain.
So thought that was a pretty cool shot of Domon stepping on some dude's face.
Yeah. The amount of disrespect. Not just disrespect, the steps on a guy's face. It's like, all right, moving on.
Yeah. So that's the Chinese Dragon Gundam in the back. Obviously, very intimidating. And this is the two monks asking Domon to basically interfere on their behalf. Right while they're talking with Domon, Rain's helping the villagers get patched up and taken care of as best as they can. These two mentors are kind of giving the backstory of their Shaolin ways and explaining how their fighter is supposed to be like the next in line of this dynasty.
Yeah.
Then they try to force Domon to do what they want. Of course, he defends himself. So they take another tactic. And then after Domon leaves, they apologize to Rain.
Yeah, they're like, sorry about that. We're just trying to make him we're just trying to coax him to do something for us. But he's being very stubborn.
Yeah.
We weren't actually going to do anything to you. We just want him to do something for us, but he's not doing it.
Yeah, he's very stubborn.
Yeah, that's why.
So then it cuts to Domon stopping because some kids in the path that he's driving on. And,
out of the way.
So, what were your first thoughts when this kid showed up?
When I saw him show up at first, I was like, "This is a girl or a boy?" I was kind of confused in the gender at first.
Yeah.
But I really liked the design. I really loved his eyes especially. I thought were really cool looking. They kind of had a what the heck is it called? Inuyasha kind of vibe to them. A lot of characters in Inuyasha kind of have that kind of similar eye design or pupil design. So I was like, all right, that's interesting. It actually makes this character seem different than the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I really like the design of it, and seeing this person first, I was like, I got a hint that this is maybe the chosen one, whatever they were talking about. I'm like, let me guess, is that going to be the twist, or this is the actual person he's been looking for, or he has to look for and train?
So he convinces Domon to take him along as he's traveling up to the next village. They go to a restaurant, and of course, neither one of them has any money, so they end up having to wash dishes and cook to pay for their meals. And then we get another attack from the Dragon Gang. The Gundam shows up again. Domon, of course, is taking out the trash.
Yes. Guys said fine.
So they, despite their best efforts, the village does get burnt. They end up taking horses towards the location of where the gang members are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Kid tricks Domon and says he's going to go and scout ahead, and ends up telling the gang where Domon is. So he's vastly outnumbered and surrenders.
Yeah.
So, and then gets tied up and out in the warehouse, but still tries to lay the smackdown on him as best as he can. Then their leader comes out, confronts him, and so basically, say that they're going to execute him the next day or whatever. And so they have a bit of a party, and the kid is a bit of a chef, so he cooks for him. Basically comes back to finds Domon in his prison cell and apologizes.
Yeah, but Domon ain't having any of it. He's like, you freaking tricked me, little brat.
Yeah.
Of
Opens
course.
the cage.
Kids is like, I was tricking them, actually.
Yeah. So then this is the gang leader enjoying his fine cuisine.
Yes.
And get to see where the Gundam was parked. So of course the correct gang leader's like, hey, I gotta get to it.
Does he try to get to it because doesn't Domon escape or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the kid. Yeah, Domon escapes because of the kid, and I think Domon tries to go grab his shining Gundam, and that's when the gang leader is like, "Oh, I gotta go grab our Gundam."
Yeah. And but he knocks the guy out.
Yeah, and as it's revealed, of course, he is the one he was looking for the entire time.
Yeah. So he's got his outfit on and prepared to fight. So Domon calls out the Shining Gundam, which I forgot to mention before, but when he calls it, he always snaps his fingers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And that's when the Gundam rises. It's like, how does it hear that?
DJ, you're asking too many questions.
I know.
Giant robot, go punchy punch.
So, the kid's Gundam has the ability to extend its arms out.
Yeah.
Pretty far, which is
got like 2 freaking dragon heads at the end of them too.
Yep.
Which is cool.
And they can spit fire, which is even
freaking better.
Yeah.
Yeah, just freaking try to light Domon up. They ain't having any of it.
Nope, he just blocks it. Obviously, his shield thing takes a little bit of damage from it. And then they go into saber fighting.
Yeah.
And some good martial arts action in the Gundams.
Yeah.
And then the kid starts doing like an illusion attack, knocks Domon's sword out of his hand, starts getting these flags to pop up everywhere, and uses it as kind of like a smoke screen to basically sneak around and everything. Of course, Domon's onto him and catches him with the shining finger, or thinks he does.
But it's still a hologram.
Yeah. So.
Another hologram. Or is that the real one? That's the real one.
No, that's the real one.
Yeah. Eventually he does get used to it. And he actually catches the kid off guard and manages to land will blow on him.
And but he doesn't destroy the head. He doesn't remove him from the tournament.
Yeah.
So it turns into another draw. And then we have the monks there with Rain.
Yeah.
Getting Domon's attention. I forget what they said.
Yeah, I forgot to.
They basically apologize for everything.
Yeah, and they kind of like thank Domon, I think, for at least finding the kid that they're supposed to be teaching.
Yeah. This is where the draw comes in, because Domon's getting ready to crush the head, but they point out that the kid's Gundam has Domon's head wrapped around too. So
yeah,
basically they could both take each other's heads out, and then that would be it.
Yep, if they wanted to.
So,
come to a standstill and decide to just call it a draw.
so they say their goodbyes and go their own separate directions.
Yes.
It's the end of episode 3.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts on episode 3.
I enjoyed episode 3 a lot. I really liked it, actually. I really liked the Chinese setting that they had it in, and the kind of Chinese Gundam with the 2 dragon heads. I thought that was really cool design.
Yeah. So, and it was interesting to see a little bit of different fighting technique with the flags and everything.
Yeah, no, that was cool, and more of like a kind of like martial arts between the 2 Gundams as well. Instead of them just going like throw a punch, block, we'll throw another punch, kind of like that slow, kind of like back and forth. With this one, they were actually like throwing kicks and doing different styles to trying to like confuse the other. So I liked it. So I liked that it kind of like changed it up a bit when it came to the fighting style.
Yeah. Cool. On to episode 4. French.
Yes.
So,
The French.
3 Musketeers comes to mind. So we got the rapiers for the fencing.
Yeah.
So get this nice opening shot of French Gundam pilot fighting, I think it's Spaniards.
I think so. I think you're right. I think it might be a Spaniard. I don't know what the hell happened to power back there, but okay.
Yeah. It's like, okay, what happened to cause that to melt over? Like
Yeah, it's a droop snoop now. The droop snoop.
So then we cut to this girl up on like a Zeppelin watching the fight and extremely fascinated with the French pilot.
Yeah, she's like, oh my God, he's so handsome. He's so magnificent. Look at him. He's just standing there doing nothing, and yet he's absolutely beautiful. It's like, all right, calm down.
Yeah. And the Spaniard one is like a scorpion.
Yeah, I love that. I really like the design with the scorpion legs, like kind of like behind him.
Yeah. And then Domon pops up in the middle and
just freaking
knocks him out.
Yeah, just knocks out the Spaniard. That's what the French guy is. It's like, huh, preposterous. I'm disgusted by you. You dare interrupt my match? And it's just like, Domon is just like, all right, let's fight. And the French guy's like, no, you interrupted a match. That's against the rules.
So, and then the Spaniard jumps up to attack Domon from behind and takes a sword to the face.
God damn. That was probably the most brutal, I think, out of anything Domon's done to a Gundam. Like most other Gundams, he's just grabbed their head and just kind of like crushed it a bit, and then that's it. This one, he like literally stabbed a sword right through it.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's the.
I'm like, is that guy dead? Like I had a feeling as soon as he did that, I'm like, you just kill that guy?
No, they're in the chest cavity. That's where they.
Oh, okay. No, I know that. No, I'm saying at first when I watched it, I was like, did Domon's kill that guy? But then, like, of course, they kind of revealed that no, he's still alive. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, my God, Domon, you just murdered a man.
So then they go back to arguing about fighting each other.
Yeah.
And the French guy does this like little move and takes Domon by surprise.
Nani?
And hits him with a rose bomb that blows up the shield on his right arm.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they go their separate ways. And then we get
kind of like a little montage of both of the Gundams kind of being fixed up a bit.
So, and Domon's officials yelling at him for
interrupting the match.
Yeah.
He's like, damn it, kid, you know better than that, damn it. You know better than interrupt the match. Domon's just like, I don't care.
So he gets pissed off, throws his bottle into the monitor.
Yeah, he throws his orange crush bottle.
So
It
he ends
decides,
up.
yeah, he decides to leave,
Yep.
get some fresh air.
So, and then we cut to this palace. So nice to see that not all areas look like slums.
Yeah, at least it's clean, but it's probably kept clean just because the French guy is like of royalty, so of course it makes sense why his place would be all cleaned up.
I think it's the girls.
Oh, it's the girls. Okay,
I think she's a princess.
but also that too. They are royalty, so of course their areas would be more cleaner than the rest of the city.
Yeah. So she's having like a ball, and she wants to jump his bones, and he's just like,
No, that's not fancy.
they have nice conversation and everything.
Mhm.
But he doesn't reciprocate her feelings. So she decides to.
I need to find a way she's like, I need to find a way for him to love me. Oh, I got it. Let me frame Delmon for capturing me. It's like, wait, what? It's
Yeah.
like it kind of jumped from point A to point Z, don't you think?
So she messes up her room, and the butler walks in, finds her missing, and the word Japan written on the mirror.
And they're like, it could obviously be the work of the man from Japan.
Yeah.
So the French is like, oh, hell no. And it's go find Delmon.
So then she's, trying to be a regular civilian.
Yeah,
Goes to a cafe, doesn't have money to pay.
Yeah. I love that scene too, where she's like, oh, I don't have money to pay. And the guy's just like this. Come with me for a second. We need to talk. But then friggin', more thugs show up. My God, there's like thugs in every episode. They show up and it is like, here, let me pay for that. And they like freaking knock the guy out.
Well, that's the Spaniard pilot.
Oh, okay. That was him. All right.
Yeah. So,
here's the funny thing. I didn't watch the episode in a while. I only watched the half of it first, I think a week ago. And then I watched the later half, I think just this week. So I kind of forgot that was him. I'm like, was this some random guy?
Nope, that's the Spaniard pilot. So, because he's got the scorpion tattooed on his arm. Or spider or whatever it is.
Mm.
So, obviously she's not, having anything to do with them. She's like, no, I'm not going to go along with you. Dawn shows up and knocks the pilot out.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, good. And even when he shows up, he's like, and they're ready to fight him. He's like, oh, good. I could use some stress relief right now.
Yeah.
And just starts beating all of them to a pulp.
Yep. As seen here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he's punching them.
And then they bring her back to their base.
And they're like, what are you doing out here?
And Rain's frustrated because of the whole the plot that they have to convince the French pilot to fight Domon.
Yeah, she's like, are you kidding me? He's like, this is stupid.
So this is where I was referring to earlier about the dad part.
Yeah.
So guys talking, and then we get this.
Yeah, this is apparently supposed to be Dawn's dad in the casket or something.
Yeah. So, so they trick Rain into lock her in the bathroom and decide to go forward with their plot to fake a kidnapping to convince the French pilot to fight Domon.
Yeah, I love the fact that Domon's is going along with it too.
Yeah.
He's not thinking anything else. He's just like, well, I'll get him to fight me. So yeah, sure, I'll go along with it.
So, and Rain's, in the bathroom all frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently they do somehow get a letter to the pilot and
Yeah.
the girl's hat.
Well, it's the hat. Well, it's the guy back there, the blonde one that gives him.
Oh yeah, he was the
He was the waiter.
HD.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So they just made him like take that stuff back and fake that she was captured by Daman.
Yeah. So then we get this big parade for him getting into his Gundam. Rain's like, comments about how stupid they are to lock a mechanic in a electronically locked bathroom.
Which is like, guys, I think I can make it out of here.
Yeah.
Just leaves.
So, and then the girl does convince Domon to tie her up to the tree. And of course, she complains a little bit about how tight it is.
It's almost like, I have to make it look convincing. But also, too, it's like, well, what did you expect?
Yeah.
You want to pretend that you're captured, all right?
And you can see his frustration dealing with her.
He's just annoyed. He's just like, okay. He's like, don't worry, I'm going to get a fight out of this. It's fine.
So Mr. Frenchie shows up.
He's like, on guard, ye foul man.
And we get to see him in his spandex.
Yeah, his unitard.
Yeah. But this is another good example of showing like the mech matching their movements.
Yeah.
So, so then Rain's trying to figure out where they're at and sees the explosions and is like, oh, they're over there.
Just convenient explosions. He's like, oh, there they are.
Yeah. And so Domon opens up with the Vulcan cannons in the head unit, trying to keep him at bay. He returns fire. And then they have their sword fight. More sparks.
Just add more spark effects. More! Yep.
And girl's back there still watching underneath the melted Eiffel Tower. Rain shows up and frees her. I think she tells her how stupid she's being, too. I could be wrong.
No, I think she does. She kind of like berates her for just like, why are you so dumb? Why are you doing this? This is a dumb plan. Like, do you think that he's going to fight just for you when he's like focusing on the fight right now? And she's like, oh, of course he would. And then freaking somehow telepathically,
they hear it.
Yeah, the French guy is just like, no, she's right. I'm not really fighting for you. I mean, you're a princess and everything like that. I do have to like save you, but at the same time, I can't. I'm also fighting because I can't really let the nation down.
Yeah,
I feel that our country seem weak.
So they have their duel. Pierces the left shield, which causes it to pop off. Miraculously, it's back in this frame.
There you go. Animation errors, DJ.
Yeah, I know. And then we get the first Bits attack. So this is another kind of popular trope in the Gundam series. There's usually in a lot of different series, there's seems to always be at least one mech that has these little funnels. They're called, that can like kind of fly around on their own and shoot lasers and attack and stuff, or provide shielding or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So his are rose themed, and so they fly out, start attacking Domon, causing him to have to run around, which pretty good at animation.
Yeah, that was really well animated.
So they get him surrounded, take out his leg booster, get above him, ready to take him out, and forms like an electric net dome. And first it looks pretty bad for Domon, but then he pulls off some kind of special shining finger movement and destroys it.
Mhm.
and then smacks the.
Yeah. Well, I think an attack from the French guy kind of like takes down a building. It's about to fall on both the princess and Rain, but so like he jumps in the way and grabs it, and that kind
Yeah,
of like gives Delmon an opening to like use the Shining Finger.
yeah. So it's the Eiffel Tower finally finishing falling over.
Yeah.
But again, it comes out to a draw because like Dolan realizes if he destroys the head unit, it'll finish falling and he wouldn't be able to save him. So
Yeah. So he's like, all right, fine. And you get this little moment here where the two of them kind of like apologize to each other and whatnot.
yeah, and then Dolan walks off.
Yes. On to a new adventure.
So overall thoughts of episode 4?
I enjoyed it. I will say, in my opinion, I think it is the weakest out of the 4. I mean, out of the 5 episodes, just because of the princess. I didn't really like her as a character. I was kind of annoyed by her.
Yeah.
And the fight was cool, but I don't know. I'm not really a big fan when they just rely on like lasers and swords. So I was like, I kind of like wish they had a little bit more hand-to-hand combat in the fight, or not hand-to-hand combat, but at least I kind of wish they like relied on their swords more to do more of the more of the fighting than just like pew 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 like the entire time.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's one of the things.
Cool, but I was like,
go ahead.
What were you gonna say? Okay, but I was saying like it looked really cool, but I was just like, I kind of wish they did more with the fight.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes into like the fights with the funnels, it always gets into this like whole dodging thing, or else the funnels just obliterate everything.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that.
So
I'm not the biggest fan of just two fighters going at it with projectiles. I'm like, oh come on.
it works better in the space battles, I think.
Yeah, because that makes more sense. They're like flying around and stuff like that. You're not gonna be able to like get too close to them fighting each other in the air.
Yeah. So, all right. So on to episode 5. A prisoner in Russia.
Russia. In Mother Russia, the Gundams, where are you?
So we open up with Rain talking with a barmaid in some kind of diner, trying to track down Domon. So we're not privy to what's happened yet. Obviously, they don't really give her much information. So she heads out, and his core fighter is there. So she eventually crawls into it and hangs out while waiting for Domon to show up. And realizes that he's in. I think she does get a clue that he's in the prison.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't remember. Did he break in?
I think we're trying to break out. I believe.
I know this is him breaking out. I can't remember how he got in there, but oh, that's right. Anytime a Gundam fighter shows up, they arrest him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
So he's trying to make a break for it. They capture him and aren't too kind to him. The lady sitting in the background is kind of the warden of the whole place, and not exactly a happy camper.
No. She's like, oh, wonderful. You're here.
Or no, this is taking place before him popping out of the sewer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a flashback to like why exactly he's running out of the sewer.
Yeah. So then he gets up to this point, and this big guy is sitting there just like, yeah, you should just give up.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get out of here. Don't mind, of course. It's like, watch this. Punch! Oh, that did nothing.
Yeah. And it makes Domon look like a kid.
Oh, yeah, it's hilarious.
It's like, what the heck?
Yeah,
And,
and
so while Domon's stunned that his punch didn't do anything at all, he raises his hands and does double fist
just
knockout.
knocks, yeah, just knocks Dawn out. And then that's when the warden and the other cops show up.
Yep. So, and then we get a little flash stream sequence, and this will play a big role later on in the series.
Hmm.
So, and then Domon wakes up in a prison cell, and this guy's basically laying down the rules and what's going on, and basically trying to convince him to just give up on ever escaping. And comes across as like an inside man.
Yeah,
Like, just something feels very off.
yeah. The guys just kind of tell him, just like, listen, get used to this place. Like, just like, no escaping.
Yeah. So, and of course, they have like mine shaft that they're making them all work in, and
Mm. And Domon's kind of like, what are they like working in there for? And the guy's just like, oh, we're there to work on freaking Gundam parts or something.
yeah, they strip parts from other Gundam fighters, and basically the guy is like trying to convince Domo to just reveal where the Shining Gundam is.
Yeah.
So done over with. So yeah, you get to see this Gundam graveyard, essentially. And just more of him trying to talk Domon into giving up.
Yeah. But also, like, Domon does make a mention. He's just like, you're in here. So does that mean that, like, you're possibly a passive Gundam fighter or a Gundam pilot? And the guy's just like, no, it's stupid. Of course I'm not. And then that's when Domon sees the big guy and he's like, oh, Cashew's hands then, fool. Like, punches him.
And gets to jump on a guard.
Yeah, grabs his gun.
Of course, they got a sniper on him.
Yeah,
So.
but then, yeah, the sniper's like with a fire, but then the big guy kind of pushes him out of the way and he's like, meet me tomorrow at this spot.
Yeah. So they beat up Domo.
I love how as soon as the big guy tells him what to do, he's like, huh? Just start wailing on him. He's like, ow, ow, stop.
Ow, 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 ow.
He's like, ow, help.
So
like, oh,
cut to the next morning, see Rain on a little barge with the core fighter, observing the prison. Notices the cannons, so she's like, yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I can't really get too close to it or else they're going to fire on me.
Yep. So Domon tells this guy, like, hey, if you want to get out of here, come with me. And it's revealed that somebody's, spying on Domon and passing the info to the warden and everything. My cat's a brat. So they make it outside. Guys like starting to kind of be like, yeah, this freedom idea is not so bad. And then so they meet up with the big guy, and he just punches a hole in the cement wall, pulls out a gas pipe, causes an explosion to go off.
Mm-hmm.
So starts a chain reaction. They hop onto a truck, make their escape onto the ice, and Rain warms up the core pilot. And then we get to see the Russian Gundam rising out of the hangar bay.
Yeah. Big boy. Big man. Yeah, the very kind of like burly, kind of like stocky build for a Gundam.
Yeah. So then they see it coming. Of course, it starts shooting at them and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. And they're like, oh god, oh god, oh god, okay. They're trying to dodge it. But then eventually one of the bullets just hits it and blows up the truck.
Yeah. And a pretty good shot of what it looks like. So, then
Yeah.
of course, Domon's shining gun rises up, and it turns out that Big Guy's the Russian pilot and was the one feeding information to the warden.
Yeah, he was a spy that they were talking about earlier in the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he like takes up his Gundam and the warden tries to give him orders and he's like, shut up.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to fight. I want to fight on my own. No orders. Leave me alone. Shut up. This is Gundam.
I just like how his suspender set goes around the spandex.
Yeah, that's funny. It's just like his bomb or
Yeah.
shit. I didn't mean to spoil that. But yeah, no, he has like a bomb around his chest in case he does escape. But yeah, I love how the fact that it doesn't just go around it. It's just like still underneath it. It's like, how does that work exactly? But whatever.
And the cuffs too.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, how did that work? Okay, whatever. You know what? Oh, shut up. Let's get to the robots punching each other.
So,
Well, speaking of which, this is probably like I think my favorite fight out of the 5 episodes we've seen so far.
yeah. So yeah, what I like about the Russian Gundam is it looks like it's wearing like the
Russian coat. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Just looking at it now, I'm like, oh yeah, it does look like that.
And then a huge cannonball just shoots out of the shoulder and gets.
Yeah, it shoots out like a giant electric whip and just like grabs it.
Yeah.
This I thought was awesome. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, that looks awesome.
Yeah,
She
so
like spins it and then just like tosses it like dumb on. I'm like, oh yeah.
So they have a pretty good fight. Kind of reminisce of their in-person fight earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
So Dylan punches him, doesn't do anything. He does the double hand chop on him. Again.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and he like freaking grabs someone's arm and like manages to like. Does he twist it or did he just break? He just twists it, doesn't he?
He rips it off.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he does rip it off. And Domon just like feels all of that.
Yeah.
Again, giving me heavy Pacific Rim vibes when Knife had ripped off Jeff the Danger's arm like the first fight.
Yeah.
Then he like tries to take off his head, but Domon's just like, no, we use the shining finger.
Everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen?
But then like he does like a freaking, which I actually thought was really cool to see because we don't really see it a lot in anime, but like we see him like literally punch up like right there, kind of like at the joint almost.
Yeah.
Like if you want to hurt somebody, just do an uppercut like right at a joint, and they'll feel it like immediately. So it kind of just like punches underneath his arm, and the big Russian guy's like, ah, crap! I felt that actually.
And then starts his shining finger. So Annette, the crest that's on the back of his hand, plays a factor in the storyline too. There's like other people that end up having crests as well.
Okay.
So it plays more into it later on.
Yeah. He's part of a cult.
And then Delman does his shining finger, breaks through the Russian guy's arm.
Again, really good animation with the hand coming through the fire and just like going towards the camera.
Yeah. And catches his head and starts to crush it, but doesn't finish it.
Yeah. It ends like another draw.
Yeah.
I think because of his arm being ripped off, I think Dolman wasn't at full strength or wasn't really at full power.
Yeah.
So that kind of leaves them both at a draw.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the other prison guy says.
So the fight ends. They have their little send off.
Yeah. The Russian guy goes back to jail, and we find out that everything's a bomb. We also find out that this guy actually used to be a space pirate.
Yeah.
Adam. So I actually thought that was really cool.
Yep.
And then the other prison guy and Dumb have a talk, and Dumb's like, "What are we gonna do now? You're out of prison." He's like, "I don't know. I guess we're all still prisoners, but I'm gonna go try to find freedom." And this kind of leaves Dumb up at that little.
Yeah, because one of the things that we forgot to mention before, if a pilot is considered like going AWOL, he becomes an enemy of his country, and so he can like never return. And if he tries to, he's like either arrested or executed or something like that. So that's part of why they keep putting all the pilots into prison to like screw them over.
Oh, okay.
So, but that's the end of episode 5.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Probably my favorite episode, honestly. Like I really like the setting of it. Like I'm a big fan of like that cold environment, like the rushing kind of like freezing temperature with the snow and everything like that. I think it makes for some really cool scenery, and I love that. I like the fight too between Delmon and the big Russian guy, like within their Gundams. I thought that was like probably one of the better fights in the 5 episodes.
Yeah.
And the animation too was like phenomenal. Like that shot of what is it? Like Delmon. I forgot what the shot was, but it was like either Delmon running away from the big Russian guy's mech or running towards his shining Gundam, and like the way they animated it was like just so like perfect.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely some really good animation in this series. Unique fights, because like if you watch other Gundam series and everything like that, you're just so used to them just shooting tons of bullets at each other, and occasionally they'll have like sword fights and stuff like that, but for the most part it's just like long range fights.
Yeah. Again, not my favorite type of fights. I'm like, just punch each other or something.
Yeah.
I don't you guys shoot at each other for so long until I get bored.
So yeah, that's part of the reason why I like this series so much, is just because it's such a big change from the formula. And, and
I'm more priority with it.
And even though it's got some like really goofy elements in it, it still takes itself seriously, and it's not a total joke. So yeah, this is one of the series that I really enjoy, and glad we're getting to talk about it.
Yep.
So now that we're done with the first 5 episodes, sounds like you're becoming a fan of it so far.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
Yep.
I'm interested to see where the next 5 take us.
Yep. Yeah, we get. I think the next 5 is when we're going to start seeing some of the goofier.
Oh, good
stuff.
Windmill guy. Let's get him in.
And yeah, so there's definitely a lot of stereotypes in this series for countries and stuff like that, but it just adds to the charm of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not done to be malicious or anything like that.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like they're making really fun of any of the countries. It's just like they're implementing designs. They're like implementing characteristics, I guess, of their country, of different countries into the mix. Like the Russian with kind of like having like that kind of like Soviet kind of like look to him. Not Soviet look to him, but like that big coat.
Yeah.
That big coat. You got the American one kind of having like that football and boxer thing. It's just like, that's cool. The dragons for the Chinese one. the long sword for the French one. Like, it's just cool. Like, I like that they're like making them represent the country that they would be in.
Yeah. So, yeah. And Domo's from Japan, so he's got the samurai motif.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep. I think that'll be where we end things. Obviously, next week we'll be reviewing episodes 6 through 10. See where the series takes us.
Are we going back to Tuesday, or are we doing Friday next week?
If Friday works, I think that'll be easier. Otherwise, we'll have to postpone because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get all the screenshots by Tuesday.
Okay, we'll have to postpone then because I have to do something on Friday for next week.
Okay, so
I have to go see for one of my classes, so I'm like, I can't do that.
No problem.
And so, right at 7:30.
Just not this coming Tuesday, but the following one then.
Yeah, that should work fine.
All right. So yeah, so we won't be here this coming Tuesday, which is
The
24th. Will actually be October 1st.
Yay, October.
So yeah, if you're still watching to this point, thank you for checking us out. Be sure to come back on October 1st, check out our next review, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Appreciate you watching us, and definitely leave some comments if you've seen the series.
Tell us your favorite Gundam design.
Yeah. And check the series out. It is available. You can find the show out there.
Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll, by the way. If anybody has Crunchyroll out there, it is available in that app.
Yep.
Thank God. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to go watch a show that's on a freaking site that I have to keep clicking out of because they keep sending me the stupid ads.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, appreciate you watching the videos, and catch you next time.
Yes. Farewell.